Welcome to COVID Conversations here on KWDC 93.5 Delta College Radio. Thanks for joining us and supporting college radio. During a regular semester, audio students produce a show called Campus Conversations where we interview each other. However, isolation life has changed things a bit, so this assignment has also changed. In this podcast, you will hear a personal account of how this producer is dealing with life in the time of COVID. Please know these are personal experiences and do not reflect the thoughts and opinions of anyone other than the producer and guests. Hello, my name is Alex, and I'm here with my best friends. We're going to start off with them introducing themselves and what school they attend and or where they work.
My name's Collin. I attend UCLA.
My name is Joel, and I attend UCLA as well.
My name is Jesus, and I attend UC Davis.
My name is Kyle, and I work at Eddie's Pizza.
My name is Tomas, and I attend Delta College.
Okay. So the first question I want to ask you guys is, before quarantine, what were your thoughts on the I guess it wasn't a pandemic then, but for sake of conversation purposes, what were your thoughts on the pandemic, and were you taking any precautions?
Well, personally for me, in the beginning, I thought it was kind of overblown. This was like the first few weeks everybody was reporting stuff. I thought it would just kind of go away. But I didn't really take any precautions, but I didn't really need to either because I was just stuck at home. Either way. So, yeah.
I kind of agree with Joel. For a while there, it just seemed like it was another virus that was new and far away and didn't really matter too much. But there was a certain point where things kind of shifted, and it's like, oh man, this is real.
Honestly, I didn't even know what coronavirus was until the quarantine started happening, and I started hearing more about what was going on. I don't really go on news and stuff, so I wasn't really paying attention too much.
My news is mainly just memes. So, you see, people just freaking out over toilet paper. And I was like, man, these guys are all idiots, right? But for the most part,
But now we actually have no toilet paper.
Yeah, right? I tend not to touch people and then touch my face afterwards because that's disgusting. And I always washed my hands. So I guess I took the normal precautions, just kept away from people. Because you know how people are, they're always going to just travel even though they don't think they have it. They're not going to quarantine themselves. I took it a little bit more seriously than other people because my dad works at a government agency, right? So he was really serious about it, right? I think we got a total of 1,000 gloves in the house now.
All from his job?
All from his job, yeah. So that was kind of nuts to see that happen, how seriously he was taking it. Then I knew something was gonna happen, and especially how Italy, how it had hit Italy.
I just agree with everyone else, to be honest. It didn't seem like I agree.
What about, because there was a period where a lot of people weren't really taking it serious, and then there was a period where we did start to take it serious. That was probably right before quarantine actually happened and schools and jobs started to shut down. What kind of precautions were you taking then, if there were any changes?
Well, so UCLA was one of the last UCs to kind of shut down everything. And there was a few town hall meetings in LA that were going on, and it was basically just keep your distance. Everything's going to be fine. Everything will stay open. But we're in classrooms with 200 people, 250 people with seats that literally I'm too big to fit in. So how do you stay 6 feet apart? So I considered just staying home and trying to take that, but I can't do that. I have classes. It was right before finals too, so I had to be going to those. So it was mainly just avoid people as much as possible. Don't breathe as much as I'm used to. Try to hold my breath so I'm not breathing in stuff. Get takeout. Don't go to the dining halls and sit in and eat. That kind of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with Colin. Being at Davis, we also found out super late what was going on, which is really interesting with finals and everything going on, what we were gonna do. But once all that information came out, pretty much, I guess is when it started escalating and becoming more serious, I pretty much stopped going to campus personally, and I would just stay at home, kind of avoid going to crowded areas.
In my household, the only thing that really changed was no matter what, no matter why you left the house, when you came back, you had to wash your hands no matter what. And then my dad also started rinsing off like sealed stuff that was in bags or in bottles because he read somewhere that temperature over 85 degrees kills the bacteria, so he started rinsing everything off and stuff. Other than that, though, I still work. Even now, I'm still working, so nothing else really changed too much.
I think I got um, I wouldn't say lucky, but very like the circumstances that were happening in my life um, during that period kind of helped me um, acclimate better, I guess. There's some very personal experiences going on academic wise at UCLA, and I stopped living in the UCLA dorms about 2 weeks to 3 weeks before finals. Um, so I just went home, right? And I'm just at home doing classwork, and just doing work and stuff in general. Um, and so I, I mean, I was at home when everybody was, still out and about. So I feel like I was a little bit luckier, I guess, that
Yeah.
I got to be home earlier than everybody else and be, I guess, a little bit safer, you know?
I will say that it did feel pretty hard to take any precautions living in the dorms because like you're on a floor with so many people. There's other people in my room. Well, Joel's my roommate, so he wasn't there at the time, but I had another roommate who I don't know where he's going. I don't know where he's been. So when he comes back and we're talking with each other, uh, we're so close together that like if one of us got it, the other one would get it, and it would spread to other people on the floor. So like it felt very hard to do anything to take precautions.
Yeah, that was one of my biggest observations is that just life just keeps going, and it's hard to take something like this so fast and change everything so fast. And you still got to make money, you still got to pay bills and all that. So it's tough.
Yeah, and, like, I don't know, I'd say for a lot of the people I know, um, uh, they still aren't used to being in quarantine, even though we've been in quarantine for how many weeks now?
Almost like a month now, right?
Yeah, like,
Yeah,
yeah. And they're still not used to it, and you know, I mean, um, it's just really tough for a lot of different reasons.
For me, I live with my grandparents, and like they're saying that it was the hardest on like the elderly. For me, it was hard because I had to go to school still, and I still had to go to work, and I actually got really lucky with both school and work because school shut down. But I called my assistant manager. I was like, hey, I'm not too sure what to do, and I'm not too sure like what we can do, but I live with my grandparents and I can't like afford to get it, and because they can't afford to get it, and so he was like, well, because you work overnight, you don't really come into contact with other people, so you should be fine. Even though like I'm a cleaner, so I have to like get exposed to that kind of stuff. Um, but I got lucky because like literally I think a day or two after that conversation, they're like, oh yeah, we're gonna close.
Yeah, that's another like skewed perspective of it, and like you can't expect everybody to just like completely understand how things get passed around, and like that's another thing that sucks. But like, yeah, you're not gonna see people, but your job revolves around germs, and it's not people that give it to you; it's the germs on people that give it to you.
I don't know if this is exactly on topic or not, but I know a lot of people. It's like companies or businesses didn't really take it seriously at the beginning. Like I'm a big baseball fan, and I was keeping up with all the news for MLB, and it was like when everything started quarantining, they're like, yeah, we're gonna shut down the season we're gonna delay it for like 2 weeks, and then see where it goes from there. And it's like they just labeled it a pandemic and they're expecting it to be gone in 2 weeks. Shows that they're not really taking it seriously. Jobs like yours, yeah, other places.
Yeah, going off that, I guess in sports as well, in the NBA, there was a player, I don't remember exactly who it was. He was kind of like making fun of it, taking it not seriously. He was at a press conference and he started touching all the microphones and saying, ha ha ha, Corona, COVID, it's not really a threat to us. And like a week later, half of his team had it. Just goes to show that people weren't taking it very seriously at all.
I feel like, especially in the United States, it was the whole reaction to it was very mishandled, and the ramifications of that are still going to be around for years now because of what was messed up early on. I think I try not to follow news. I know it's a little weird to try not to follow news when there's so much going on, but I try not to follow it because of it's just very depressing.
Yeah.
Because keeping up with news and having an infinite stream of information that's probably biased and is just not telling the whole truth, or the ones that are telling the truth, they're very negative, so it's very hard to try and keep a steady emotional state in a politically this whole thing is politically entwined as well, which is really sucks. It's not just
they shouldn't have to do with each other. It should be more of a humanitarian thing rather than a political thing and a health thing, or it should be a health thing. Aside from things shutting down, how has this affected school or work?
Yeah, I have all my classes are on Zoom, so it's a lot different than being in a normal classroom environment. The thing that has been better though is the quizzes and midterms and finals and stuff are actually a lot easier in an online environment.
My hours got cut and I'm making significantly less money than I normally am, which is hard for me to keep up with bills. And the bills are still coming. It's not like the bills are going to stop because of this.
One thing is that none of us signed up for online classes. We all chose in-person classes because that's what we're more comfortable with, or at least I am. And now we're swapped over to this online schedule, and it's kind of just really thrown a rock in all the gears, because my piano class is more of a hands-on, and you get to see things, and not everybody has a keyboard. Luckily, most of my class does have a keyboard at home, and Alyssa didn't have a keyboard, but she ended up getting a keyboard before the whole thing happened. So it kind of just lined up to work out perfectly. But if people didn't have keyboards at their house, they'd kind of just have to be forced to fail.
I think I have kind of a different perspective because, like I said before, I was having some issues with some academic stuff at UCLA. So I'm currently not really doing classes. I'm sort of taking this quarter sort of as not like a break, but I'm not doing classes basically. I'm doing them in the summer, but I quit my job about 6 months ago. It was a good job. It's just I didn't like it because of it was a customer service job, and it was very customer facing, and I couldn't keep up with that with all the stuff that was going on in my life at the time. And now I'm trying to look for a job, and it's impossible because the places that need people are the places where you're more likely to get infected by people, stuff like grocery store people, volunteer work.
Costco is doing temp jobs right now.
Yeah, and I don't feel very comfortable doing that because it's just I don't want to put my family at risk. Um, and the only other thing to look for is remote work, but a lot of these remote jobs need a lot of experience that I don't have because I'm still in school, and I'm just not. Some days go by where I just don't do anything because it's just impossible to do anything.
Now, if you were still at your other job, how do you think like all of this would have affected you?
I feel like I would have still been there for most of the pandemic because I don't feel like they had thought it was going to get worse. Um, and I feel like I don't know, I just would have been more at risk. So I'm both glad that I'm not working, but I'm also very you know just not looking forward to future like job uh, stuff.
And Kyle, being the only one out of all of us who is still working through all of this, what is it? What is that like?
I mean, for me, every Tuesday and Friday we have a new shipment coming to restock our supply. That's the only part that really makes me nervous. Other than that, I'm a cook, so I have zero contact with other people. But I'm the one who puts away all the boxes and stuff we get. So if that's contaminated, I'm the one that's gonna get contaminated because I'm the one touching it. Other than that, though, I mean, I have zero contact with customers, so I'm lucky in that fact.
Kyle, did they like change like procedures and stuff for you guys like like with cooking and stuff?
No, not with the cooking, but with the cashiers and the drivers. We have to wear gloves. I mean, they have to wear gloves. I don't have to, but it's strongly recommended. But cashiers have to wear gloves at all times. They're trying to find a place to buy masks for them so that way they can wear masks too. They also added so they added plexiglass in front of the cashiers so that way the customers can't breathe, and if they do cough, it won't get on them directly. But other than that, no, they haven't changed anything from my part of the job, at least.
Speaking of that plexiglass, my mom's work, Sprouts, was supposed to do that as well. I'm not sure if they did. She's not there right now because she's claustrophobic, so she can't wear a mask. So they're basically like okay, bye for the time. So like, I think that's one of the few precautions that almost everything has done is the plexiglass. If you still like talk to people, so like KFC is drive through only now. Drive through and like Grubhub and only that now. There's nobody that comes inside unless you work there, of course. The cooks don't have to talk to people, just like Eddie's Pizza. But like, there's so many people that don't have cars, don't have like access to Grubhub, and then they're like riding their bicycle through the drive-through, and we have to like tell them to go away because that's not allowed, and it's like it's rough seeing all the people who really have no chance of getting food try and get food through like all these different ways, So like these two older Mexican ladies, they were just like arguing with us for a really, really long time, and eventually we caved in just to get them out of there so they don't get hit by a car, right? But like a lot of people, food is a necessity. They need food, and it's rough not having a car or Grubhub or any means of getting food that were taken away during the quarantine, basically.
We talked about like school and work and stuff, but how is the pandemic affected your life at home?
I can comment on this one a little bit. As for life at home, basically my grandma still lives with us at home, so as similar to you, Alex, I also did not want to be at home at all. So when I came back here to Davis, I decided to stay here at Davis. Odds are I'm probably not going to be heading back home until maybe classes are over. Besides that, my sister actually moved out during this. Because she works in Sacramento at like a children's home. Basically it's like for abused and domestic violence kids. And a lot of the kids, after all of these things were happening, kind of just decided to keep leaving and were coming back, and she had no idea where they were going. And she felt that if she kept going back home, she could endanger my grandma or family. So she actually decided to completely move out to Sacramento.
Well, for me, home stuff is a lot weirder because my I live with my mom and my stepdad really, and there are people who also live in my house that aren't related to me. They rent out like a room, um, and stuff, but I don't really talk to them. I don't have any contact with them really, so um, it's just mostly me and my mom and my stepdad, and it's very interesting because um, I am not really normally just near her all the time, so she can be very overbearing sometimes. Um, which I mean, it's just she's very like scared about this whole thing, and I understand that. It's just um, I spend almost all my time in my room and or the restroom, and that's it really because I don't want to really leave the room, because there's nothing really to incentivize me leaving.
Yeah.
Except to, use the restroom or eat, you know?
Yeah.
It's very, very hard to stay in when there is nothing um, good about staying in at all.
I kind of understand that because like right now I'm usually on campus, living by myself, or at least away from my family. Um, so I wouldn't usually be here. So being here, especially when taking classes, has been a little like difficult because I'm trying to balance schoolwork and doing stuff with my schoolwork, but also um, like I'm constantly around my family, so I'm doing stuff with them too that I wouldn't usually have the time for, or sometimes it can feel a little bit like much because like when you're constantly around people, that kind of um, can make you feel a little like trapped. You don't get any like change to your daily routine, and you kind of get stuck for a little bit. Um, like just not being able to go out and do stuff, or not finding any space really can be taxing.
Yeah, one big thing with me is I recently was able to afford this desk and set it up and basically move my whole computer setup to my room, right? Um, so now I kind of only live in my room. I have my keyboard in my room. I've got my computer. I've got a switch. I can eat food in here. Um, like Joel, I kind of like have no reason to leave my room. I'd say my contact with people, including my family, has gone down by like 80%. And like I almost never talk in person to people anymore. And but I do keep contact with you guys over Discord and stuff like that, and playing games and stuff. So it's still like I still have contact with people, but it's just not as personal as it used to be. And one of the biggest ones is I have seen Alyssa, my girlfriend, once during quarantine, and that was with masks on, with gloves on, and when I went to my appointment at my ceramics class to pick up some of my stuff that I made. So it wasn't like even for pleasure. It was just no fun, all business, and like we barely got to talk because we were both busy doing the thing that we needed to do before we got out of there, and our 5-year anniversary is coming up, and we just have no idea how we're going to do about that, because like that one's a big one, right? The 5 years is a big one. It's a big milestone, and we were super excited about it. And then the quarantine happened, and then the pandemic happened, and like I know that it's a little selfish to think of that, but like what else really can you think in that moment about how it kind of sucks that I can't see my girlfriend. So one way we got around that is we ordered things, right? And instead of setting the billing address to myself so I could give it to her in person. I set it to her grandparents' house, and she's gonna go there. And either A, we're gonna play it by ear. She's either gonna kidnap me on our anniversary, and we're gonna have a day, right? Or B, my parents are gonna be chill and basically be like, all right, yeah, you haven't left your room for a month. You don't have it. Alyssa hasn't done anything for a month. She doesn't have it. Go ahead, hang out, right? But it really sucks just to not have her with me anymore, especially because like the amount of contact I had with her was the most out of every person in my life. You know, to take that from like seeing her 95% of the time, excluding like sleeping, because you're not enjoying anybody's company when you're sleeping. You're just asleep, right? 95% of my conscious time, I was with my girlfriend because she drives me places. We hang out. We go to the same school. We have a lot of the same classes, and we just like chilling. That has gone down to basically like 0%, and it's really sad because she's depressed. I tend not to get depressed, but I'm sad because I can't see her, and I'm sad for her because she's got much less things to do than I do. I'm so glad that Animal Crossing had come out when it did, because I don't know what she'd do. She'd be bored out of her mind if she couldn't just play Animal Crossing. Oh my god. Because I have so many other games. I've got you guys. She doesn't have too much, any like Discord or anything like that. She knows that she could hop on here and talk with us, but she kind of just doesn't feel it because she's depressed.
I will say that, man, working out or just like activity is something that I miss a lot more than I thought I would, because like over the summer I worked out a lot with you, Alex, and that's something I actually really miss. That was a lot of fun, and I got in shape. And then like I got to school at UCLA and I didn't really work out, but you know, I'm walking everywhere. I like in my day I was doing probably at least an hour of walking just to and from class. Yeah, just up and downhill, and it's something. So I like still felt like I was in shape. I still looked like I was in shape, and now just like even a month of just online stuff, I've noticed that I've gotten a little bit on the flabbier side. I haven't weighed myself, but I've probably gained a few pounds. And just it's I feel like I need to get activity in, and I don't have a way to do that, being trapped up in my room all day.
Well, we aren't limited to like running and stuff like around our house.
Yeah, but like it's like I live right next to the park, but it's still like it's scary to go anywhere. Like even just going for a walk outside is, if I'm gonna be, if the only way to be 100% safe is to not leave my house, then why would I leave my house even if it's just to go like run or do something? When this first started, I was walking my dogs in the morning, and that was something. And like they need activity. Obviously, I'm not just gonna let my dogs be inside all day, but like I don't do anymore. Instead, I just take them outside and go run around with them out back for a while, or throw the ball or play with their toys or something outside. So that way they're getting activity in. But yeah, like I'm not getting any activity in myself, and that's something that really sucks.
That's definitely a thing I've been thinking of. I wouldn't say my mental health has gotten any worse. It's been very difficult because my only real means of contact with other people is usually through games and stuff, or my family members, which I talk to every day, so it's not, and we don't really do much in terms of like entertainment. We just like eat. We eat around a table, and we're like 5 feet apart at all times, and like we just eat, and then we like chat a little bit, and then I go to my room. So one thing I've been doing is I've been either just playing video games, which is fun, but it gets monotonous if you just keep doing it all the time. But one other thing is I've been resorting to like um, doing like drugs and stuff like that to like keep myself happy in the time, which I normally wouldn't call myself um, like a drug user or anything like that. But I think this time period just changed that because it's like I can't really do anything else other than just read, write, play video games, and talk to people online. And it's like I need more than that, you know. I like, and I'm willing to find any way to get more, which is kind of sad, I'd say.
Um, for me, like, I don't know. I feel like this is kind of how I was already living. Kind of like I typically don't leave my house unless it's for something like I have to do, like work or school. So it's like I'd be home all day, and then when it came time for school or work, that would be the only times I leave. So now it's like um I'm just home all day doing what I probably would be doing anyway if I was at home. So this kind of like isn't much of like a big change to me, other than the fact that like I think if I had time just for myself, um, where I could be going out, I'd probably like just be going to go work out. So that sucks that I can't work out. Um, but other than that, I think like this really hasn't affected me much, other than like I said, school or work. Having
Uh,
to go to that.
like seeing people is such a thing. I guess I took for granted, um, cause like I'd see Alex at Delta every once in a while. We'd like go out of our way to have a lunch together or
Hang out for like 10 minutes.
yeah, just 10 minutes, man. Like I'm missing that so much. Or like the video that we were gonna make got postponed. We can't do that right now. Me and Alyssa would go see her friend Alma, my friend too. We can't do that. I haven't even talked to her in a while. We'd go to Kyle's house or we'd go somewhere with Josh, and there's so many things that like, cause her and I we really feel like life gets dull if you're not seeing people frequently, right? And we just love to invite people, do things. We like doing things with people. We really enjoy other people's company, right? Um, and like, damn, dude, it's just I'm missing so much, and like I think that's why I haven't gotten down too much is because I'm really not focusing on that, right? And I'm trying to keep that positive mentality of like not that things are good right now, but like there's better days to come. That is the biggest thing about staying positive is that there's always better days to come, and not to focus on what's happening now at least, And when something does good happens now, you do hold on to it. Um, but like I'm glad Kyle got a computer and I'm able to talk to him too now. Um, and it's a good thing that it happened when technology is as advanced as it is at this point, you know.
To add to what Thomas was saying, like I run a D&D campaign for some people that go to UCLA. Joel is someone in my group, and there's two of them that are fourth years and they're graduating this year. So like we're not done with our game. We still have a little bit to go, but having to finish out our campaign over voice chat and like not interacting in person is something that is really sucks. It's sad when you go from being able to see everyone's emotions, just doing something stupid like role playing as fantasy characters, like just being able to see their reactions and like goof off with them and have a good time in person, is something that really sucks to have to transition to online, where it's not as interactive, it's not as fun, and it's not as uh, it's not how I envisioned ending the campaign with the two people that we're probably not gonna be able to see in person as much in the coming year.
Once the quarantine is over and it's deemed safe that we can like interact with people again, what's the first thing you guys are gonna do?
Get a haircut.
Yes. Yes. Oh my god, I'm going to get a haircut immediately. I feel so scruffy. Like I don't have a beard or mustache or anything, but I like to keep my sides and back short because I like wearing hats and I wear a headset all day, right? Um Not all day, but like in my free time. Um Dude, my hair has gotten out of control. Like it's not as poofy as say Jesus's or Collin's hair can get, right? But like I just don't like it that long. It doesn't feel right. It gets uncomfortable around my ears, and it's definitely my sides and back that I'm really hating right now because they're long and they're annoying me.
See, for me, I'm not worried about a haircut because I'm growing out my hair. I've been growing it out for a while. But I have been growing out my facial hair a lot. And I probably wouldn't have done that if we weren't in quarantine. But I'll probably.
You can get the awkward.
What's up?
So you can get the awkward phase out
Yeah,
now.
so I'm probably just gonna shave once it ends.
Let's say that I needed a haircut probably 3 weeks before the quarantine, but I was in LA and the around UCLA the haircuts are so expensive, so I was just trying to wait it out. Like spring break will be there, I'll be home for a week, I can get a haircut really quick, and then things started to get serious. And it's like, oh, I'm actually probably going to be home for a while, but when I get back, I'll just wear a mask and go get my haircut. And then like the first day that I was back, that I was planning on getting my haircut, is when California went on stay at home and the hair salons got shut down.
I feel really lucky because I literally got a haircut the day before the order went out, um, and I just like I got a haircut. I feel good about myself because I just been growing it out now, and one thing that I've been doing is like I've also been growing out my facial hair, but I also like it's always in that awkward phase at every point. So I've just been just sitting around, yeah.
One thing is that like so many places that are shut down right now, the people who work there, if they're ever like down about what job or like what they do as a living, they're gonna realize how not necessarily essential to risk your life for a pandemic, right? Their line of work is, but how essential to people's happiness their line of work is, because like the hair salon place is, you know, not an essential, but their business is going to be booming the second this ends.
That's one thing that also is like a bright side to a really bad situation, because like a lot of people that work at hair salons, they're more smaller businesses, like family owned. So like those businesses are probably really suffering without being able to have business right now. They're not open. They're not making any money. How are they paying their bills? But the bright side to that, at least, is like the second this is all over, they're gonna have like packed business for at least 2 or 3 weeks.
Going back to the question of what we're gonna do after this thing's all over, I'm gonna go hang out with my friends, man. I miss hanging out with people. It's just like we've said it a lot, but it's just like you really understand. Like thankfully for me, my girlfriend's pretty much living with me during this quarantine, which is really nice. But I do have someone, but man, if I was by myself, I think I'd be going crazy. It's just like you like it's the thing about work, and even as me as a student, like it's a routine. I'm already getting tired of the routine. If it was by myself, oh god, I don't know what I would do.
Definitely gonna see my girlfriend. That's like after getting a haircut, because I don't want to look ugly when I go see her. But like after that, um,
What I'd probably do the first thing is probably just go to a park or something. Um, there's this. I'd either go to a park or go hiking or something. I've been planning to go hiking for the past few months, and I was going to do it the moment I got back home, but then all this stuff started going on, and um, I'm interested in like photography and stuff, and like um, biking and stuff. So I think I'd go biking or hiking or taking pictures around like Los Angeles or something like that. And I feel like that taking pictures would probably be the best because the pollution is probably not going to be as bad um, then. So
Honestly, I probably won't really do anything special. My Going back to your last question, the reason why I didn't really say anything is because the question that was how did it affect our home life? My life hasn't really changed at all since the whole thing happened. I still work. I still come home. I do occasionally play the game with you guys. Well, not occasionally, most of the time. But other than that, my life hasn't really changed at all. So when quarantine's over, I don't think it's gonna change much either. I'm still gonna go to work. I will have more hours at work, but other than that, I really don't think anything else is gonna change for me once the quarantine's over.
When quarantine's over, I'm taking you to a zoo.
No.
We're gonna do something.
Let's all just. Yeah, let's all go to the zoo together. Joel, you're gonna have to come to Stockton.
maybe someday. We'll see. We'll see. One thing that has been interesting, speaking about going places, is my mom's been taking me out to drive, and I've been quote unquote learning to. I already know how to drive really. It's just like I need the practice, yeah. And my mom has never taught anybody how to drive, so she's not very good at it. I'm very like competent at driving. The only issue I have is with like turning and stuff. Um, but she gets very like afraid. But she was like, "Oh, I'll teach you how to drive. It's gonna be like there's not gonna be any traffic or anything like that." And we go out and it's the same amount of traffic because I live in LA, you know. So there's always traffic even in a pandemic, which is really insane.
For me, I think the only thing I really have planned to do after this is over is probably go work out because it has really affected like my workout routine, which sucks because I was like really really planning on like getting super consistent again because I'm always super inconsistent. So I wanted to try to like force myself to be consistent, and I started to get like back into like a groove, and then this happened, and now it's like I can't. Which personally, like, I feel like whenever I don't work out, it does affect my mental health, and whenever I do work out after not working out after a while, I feel like a lot better. Um, but I think I'm definitely gonna go to the gym once I can and start a routine again. All right. So, is there anything else anyone wants to add or say about this whole thing, or?
I feel kind of. I'd say that this whole thing has been. It's gonna insert a lot of culture changes in Western countries and stuff. Stuff like wearing masks and stuff is gonna be more common. I feel in the future. Stuff about um, public health and stuff, but also just like negative things too. Um, Probably like political apathy, stuff like higher rates of like depression and suicides and stuff are probably going on right now, you know, like as we speak. And there was this tweet that I saw where it was like, I'm tired of living in historically significant events, which I really relate to because these events are very. It feels like an introduction to like that went wrong this decade, you know, which is I know we just barely started this decade, but it's like it already turned out like this, so it's not really making anybody feel any better about the future, you know. Which, yeah. So there's a silver lining, but I mean a lot of the negative stuff is just still negative.
I think that it did kind of highlight a lot of the things that I think it highlighted a lot of issues that hopefully will be changed for the better when this is all over. Like one of them is there's a lot of businesses that don't need offices and people can just work from home, right? And if people are more comfortable working from home, why can't they? Why do they have to go into work? So I think you're going to see a big change after this is all done of businesses allowing more working from home. Um, and then there's going to be things like that hopefully will be changed. Like I know, um, at least for me, there's a big problem with um, just like I know that this I don't want to be political, but like there's been a lot of issues with how um, our country has been handling resources that we have. So like there's going to be hopefully some guidelines set in case this does come up in the future that will allow that to be run more efficiently.
Yeah, because we definitely weren't
Um,
prepared. Yeah, we definitely weren't prepared for this.
Yeah, and there's a lot of flaws. You can point to things like this are the reasons we aren't prepared. So how can we fix that in the future? Um, I definitely agree with that. Masks are probably going to be more common. Um,
I definitely have some fashion stuff set out for some masks that I have. I do have like very like high quality stuff that like now I have to put into consideration like okay I'm gonna be wearing a mask now what's gonna match the mask um, but I don't know I think that's overall a better thing that's coming around with that I think.
I like. There's also been some things that have come up that have been showcasing certain aspects of life. Like one of my side hobbies is 3D printing things. I have a 3D printer. I print all sorts of things, and the 3D printing community has been really big and helpful in like helping to print face masks and face shields that can be filters can be applied into, or that you can use to help in some way. They've printed ventilators. Like I remember there's an Italian company that made all these ventilators, and they were out of stock, and people started 3D printing them in order to keep up and help medical workers have the at least the plastic part of those ventilators themselves. Um, so that's been a thing. Like there's some technologies that have been highlighted as being useful.
Yeah, one dude, he 3D printed this thing that goes on the back of your head and connects to the strings on the face mask, so that like nurses and people who are wearing the mask all day don't get
The lining.
the lining on their ears,
Yeah.
so it strains their ears less. And somebody started making a mask with like a see-through face part for the hearing impaired and deaf, so they could better read lips or something like that. I don't know the exact use of it, but it seems helpful.
I think just overall in a time where a lot is going on and a lot of negatives are happening, there's been a lot of things that we've figured out we can fix or that can be better in the future, and there's been a lot of like people and communities that have really stepped up to try to make things better that hopefully will get recognition or maybe people have interest in the future.
I just kind of hope that after this is all over, we kind of bounce back harder as a like societal whole, if that makes any sense. Like I hope there's a lot of good that does come from this. COVID Conversations has been a production of KWDC 93.5 LPFM, Delta College Radio. This program is made possible by listeners like you. Programming is produced by the students, staff, and faculty of San Joaquin Delta College's Radio Television Department and supported by the Delta College Department of Arts, Humanities, and Multimedia. It is also supported by the Career Technical Education and Workforce Development Office and the State of California. Thank you for listening.